I heard about Bacara before I actually ever met her. There was a mutual friend of ours who said, "You got to meet Bacara. Bacara is amazing." All these kind of things, and I've shared this with Bacara before, and so the hype was unbelievable. And of course, once Bacara showed up and we actually met and we talked, and I sort of we connected right away, and I realized how person she was. I was like, all right, she lives up to the hype. I had never done action, participated in acupuncture before. I knew what it was on a very general basis. I personally never had the fear of the needle, so that wasn't an obstacle for me. I know it is for some people, but and very quickly in speaking with her, I can't recall what the first thing that it was that sent me to her, but I knew that I was in very good hands from the moment that we started. Her the way that she approaches things, whether she's in a conversation with you or actually treating with you, it's very calming and puts you in that space where you're very open to being treated, right? Whatever the treatment's going to be. So it probably was allergies or a cold or some sort of ache and pain, because those are generally the things that Bacar has treated me over the years. And pretty much without exception, every time I have had a treatment, I leave in a very different state. So, acupuncture is not a cure-all by any means, but the way that you approach it, you're going to get something good out of it. That's the way that I always see it. And I've said to Bacar many times that she's my first choice to go to versus Western medicine, because at least I'm able to get something instantly from it, even if it's walking away feeling, in a calmer place or, some sort of altered state. And by altered state, I mean, let's say that I have a pain in my knee. That's certainly something I've been to her before, a pain in my back. I have an instant change in the body, and then depending on whether they need to be follow-up treatments or whatever, it can be more of a gradual release of the pain or a gradual change. In addition to acupuncture treatments, over the years, Bacara has prescribed different types of herbal remedies for me, Chinese medicine. I had the opportunity to be in Africa early in 2020, and I knew before I went that I need to have the right herbs just in case something didn't sit so well with me from a GI perspective or otherwise. So I never take a trip without traveling with the herbs Bacara has prescribed, and of course I needed to take them a couple of times. It's so much better to take what I feel it's more of a natural sort of thing, putting that into my body to sort of take care of things that are going on versus a pharmaceutical. That's the choice, right? If you have the choice, why wouldn't you go with natural versus pharmaceutical? So she's been very helpful for me with that as well. And I don't have context. I don't have context for anyone else ever treating me with acupuncture, but I feel like I found the best practitioner from the very beginning, and I'm grateful that we're connected, and I'm grateful that I found Bacara and her practice. I really I can't say enough positive things about her and the positive experience that I have, and she certainly has helped me in many ways over many years with many different situations, and I look forward to. Hopefully, I won't need her anytime soon, but I know that when I will need her, I know that the place to go, and I know that I will have a positive outcome. I'm super fortunate in that I don't have a large looming ailment. I know that Bacara treats some people for big things. My things tend to be smaller things. I'm in my early 50s and the body starts to change, and if you're exercising and all of that, you'll get little aches and pains. You certainly help me with those things. Seasonal allergies, unfortunately I'm affected by seasonal allergies, and I found out pretty quickly that she could help me with those, like every spring. Once those start coming on, if I go in and get treatments from her at the beginning of the season, then it really remediates a lot of the the itching eyes and the sneezing and all that kind of stuff. And then the same thing, I unfortunately have them again in the fall. So I know that I know as soon as I feel that coming on, I need to go check in with her and get her help on that. Likewise, anytime I'm getting, unfortunately I get sinus things every once in a while. Anytime there's any sort of feeling of that coming on, I immediately book an appointment with her, and I do find that at the very least, it's going to minimize the duration of it, and it also, whatever it is that's still running through my body. And the other thing is that it definitely decreases the severity of the symptoms. Also, I've learned from her and going with her and being in conversation with her while she's treating me. She's very good at giving context of why something's happening. So, for example, if you have an ache or a pain or you have a cold coming on or something, a way of looking at it is that your body's telling you something. It's telling you to slow down. It's telling you to pay attention to what's going on. It's certainly something you're never going to hear from like a general doctor in Western medicine. And it makes you it gives you the context of what's going on. And yes, it's annoying if you have a cold or whatever, but if you put it in that context as well, I think that's super important to focus on. It's like, all right, do I need to slow down? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I eating right? All these kind of things. And it all really fits together nicely. And it's great that she gives you the context and explains it a little bit more than, here, take a pill. Here, I'm going to stick a needle in you for 20 minutes. It's much more, I don't know if I want to use the term holistic, because but it's bigger picture. It's bigger picture than you're going to get from Western medicine. I was not familiar at all with Sufi chanting. And of course, knowing Pakara, I was very interested to see what she was doing, with her online sessions, and obviously with the shelter in place and everything, primarily her practice is online. So I sort of wanted to see what was happening with that. So she does some beautiful, I don't know if I frame them as guided meditations. I don't know exactly how she would frame them, but it's where you're sort of moving through your body, your eyes are closed, you're in somewhat of a meditative state. She does a beautiful job of doing that on her sessions. And then she closes out, for the last 15 or 20 minutes with Sufi chanting. And again, didn't know what that was. She explained it. It doesn't matter for me. It doesn't matter what it is. It puts me in a real meditative state. I find it so calming. And I shared with her, I had a situation, a lot of us are having situations right now where a lot of anxiety comes up, or strong emotions come up, because there's a lot of emotion just underneath the surface when you're sheltering in place and your life's upside down. And I had one of those situations, and the only thing so I tried to meditate, because I have a meditation practice. I meditate at least once a day and a half for 2 years. So when that came up, I tried to meditate, had a really hard time with it. And then I remembered that Bakara would have been live with her Sufi chanting at the time. And so of course I logged on. I found that it was the only thing that could calm me down from this particular situation, and almost in an instant sort of way. And I can't describe it. It's a combination of her voice, her demeanor, her just the way that she sort of puts you. I was describing it to someone. I liken it to a cantor in a Jewish temple, because there's something melodic about the words, and so you find it very soothing, and it allows you to sort of get in the zone. And that's the closest thing that I can describe to the meditative state that I go in. And she's just it's yet another one of her skills, and I'm glad that it's another thing that I can, that she's able to provide, as an aid and assistance for people as they're going through and dealing with different emotions and different little minor crises in our lives. It's all about how it doesn't matter. Well, I don't want to say it doesn't matter what the words are, because it does, but what's most important is the state that it puts you in. and how it makes you feel. And of course, I trust that Bakara, like the words could be something really crazy, but I trust her that, you know, I don't need to understand the words. And she does a great job of explaining it too. I don't necessarily remember that part. I'm like sitting there waiting for the, you know, for the chanting to start, because that's what calms me. And I really view it as a different type of meditation. It's very cool. It's a very cool thing to experience.